Good evening, my friends. Thank you for being here with me tonight. We are tracking the Elena Moore case, and breaking news out of South Carolina has just derailed everything we thought we understood. Private investigator Henry Dukes, working the ground in Lexington, just confirmed something that should stop every one of us in our tracks. The coroner has not yet officially identified the body found near the creek. 6 days of brutal summer heat triggered decomposition so severe that her face could not be used to confirm who she is. Police are now relying entirely on dental records. And that is not even the detail that chilled me the most tonight. Henry Dukes just turned, publicly and forcefully, on Elena's closest friend, Sandra Campbell, accusing her of withholding information, of speaking without facts, and telling her, in his own words, to stay in her lane just 2 days before Monday's autopsy results. Why would the family's own investigator come down this hard on the woman who knew Elena best, while her identity still hangs in legal limbo? Stay with me. You need every detail in this video before Monday changes the story completely. Hit subscribe now, because if you walk away before this update, you will be relying on secondhand clips to catch up on a story that is moving by the hour. Let's get into it. The biggest jolt in the Elena Moore case tonight comes directly from the family's private investigator, Henry Dukes. He confirmed that the state coroner has not officially declared whether the body recovered near the creek is Elena. Investigators found a body wearing clothing matching what Elena Moore had on the night she vanished. That is the entire basis of the match right now. We assumed the search had ended. Legally, it has not. So why has there been almost total silence from authorities on confirming her identity? The reason is brutal. Henry Dukes explained that the body lay exposed to the summer heat for 6 days. Decomposition set in fast, and it set in hard. Her face could not be used to identify her. The damage was too extensive. Investigators are now leaning entirely on dental records and fingerprints to deliver a positive match. Somewhere tonight, a family is sitting with that reality, waiting on lab results to tell them whether the body found near that creek is their daughter, their wife, their friend. But this case takes a sharper turn, and I want your read on it. Henry Dukes turned his focus toward Elena's closest friend, Sandra Campbell, and the shift was abrupt. Sandra has spent days telling people that Elena was afraid for her life. Dukes is now openly challenging that account. He raised a pointed question. If Sandra was truly as close to Elena as she claims, why hasn't state law enforcement formally interviewed her? Other friends have been interviewed. Elena's family has been interviewed. Sandra, according to Dukes, has not. He went further, stating she has no factual information to offer and telling her publicly to stay in her lane. Two narratives, two completely different versions of what was happening inside Elena's life, and one of them is being actively discredited days before the autopsy drops. Tell me one thing in the comments. Do you believe the investigator, or do you believe the best friend? Give me a one-word answer before you keep watching. Just when the confusion seems like it cannot deepen, the location where the body was found rewrites the entire timeline. We were told Elena vanished into dense forest. That is not what Henry Dukes confirmed. She was found just off a public roadway, tucked beneath the edge of a small overpass bridge at 14 Mile Creek. Crime scene photos show a guardrail, a concrete curb, and then a drop of 8 to 12 feet down to where her body was located. She was not miles from anywhere. She was a quarter-mile away, roughly a 10-minute walk, from the grocery store where she was last seen alive. Did she walk there on her own? Was she taken there? Recovery footage reportedly showed insect activity already present in the soil around the scene, a grim marker of how quickly decomposition had progressed. And if the location sits this close to a public highway, why did local police step back from a case unfolding practically on their doorstep? That question leads to a bureaucratic twist that reshapes the entire legal direction of this case. Lexington City Police stepped away from an investigation happening almost in their own backyard, and Henry Dukes explained why. The overpass bridge at 14 Mile Creek does not fall inside city limits. One side of the road belongs to the town. The creek bed itself sits inside Lexington County territory. That boundary line is the reason the case moved to the state's top investigative unit, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, known as SLED. SLED does not operate like a standard local department. They brought in 24-hour crime scene investigators and their own forensic lab, and they are keeping the analysis in-house until every detail is processed. That tells you something about how seriously this scene is being treated. They are working through tire tracks, toxicology markers, and forensic data that local police were not equipped to handle. And as SLED tightens its grip on the evidence, attention turns back to the people closest to Elena. With SLED now controlling the forensic side of this case, the human side becomes impossible to ignore. How is Elena's family holding up right now? Henry Dukes gave us a rare look inside that grief, specifically around Elena's husband, Brandon Slice. Online, a lot of people have raised questions about him, partly because he is a former local police officer. According to Dukes, Brandon is devastated. He is breaking down repeatedly under the weight of losing his wife. Dukes says Brandon had been planning a future with Elena, one that this case has now erased. That is the part of this story that has nothing to do with investigations or jurisdiction lines, just loss. And that is exactly where this case hits its hardest wall, because two accounts of Elena's life are colliding. People close to Brandon describe a strong, loving marriage, with a future being built together. Sandra Campbell describes a woman who was terrified inside her own home. Those are not small differences. They are opposite stories about the same relationship, and the family's investigator is actively working to undercut the version that paints a darker picture. The public is left holding both accounts, with no way yet to know which one is closer to the truth. So tell me what you think. Is Henry Dukes right to challenge Sandra Campbell this publicly? Or is there a reason this narrative is being shaped so hard before the autopsy results come out Monday? Drop your theories below. Every comment helps us track where this story is heading. We are following the Elena Moore case hour by hour, and the moment SLED releases an official identification, you will hear it from me first. Elena Moore deserves a full and honest investigation, and we are not stepping away from this until she gets one. If anyone out there knows what happened near that overpass bridge, their silence is costing a family their peace of mind. Can real justice be reached when a case is this tangled in secrecy and conflicting accounts? I guess we will find out together.